For everyone waiting for this anticipated episode, my eardrums are gone. Yeah, that thing is loud. That thing is loud. Shout out to Kev in the chat. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Look, this is a anticipated episode. Something we wish, maybe not wish, but something we wish happened maybe at the end of the season. But yeah, we're here. Trey, how you doing?
Man, that was I'm be honest with you, I might have to like run into the other room really quick and get a phone charger. My phone has been dead all day. It has been dead all day. Um I will say pretty candidly, this was not what we had on the bingo card for Sunday night. However, we are here, we are live, and we're going to talk about everything. I do want to get a couple things out of the way first. Huge shout out to everybody, for everyone watching that is not subscribed to the channel. Please, by all means, the number is already growing. Please, by all means, give us a little bit of love. Okay. There's going to be a lot of, I told you so. There's going to be a lot of, this should have happened sooner. All the, who's the tier list, the hot list, the board list. What do we want? What do they want? Caniac prices, everything's going to get talked about. It's all on the table. We're here to talk about it. We're here to answer the questions, and we're here to have a good time and get weird. And if we have a good enough time, I might even pour something. You know what I'm saying? I literally don't even know where to put my hands at right now. So thank God that the camera is chest high. So, what are your immediate thoughts, and where exactly did this happen for you in your mind? Like, what did you think it would take for us to get here? Because I said to a lot of people who I've spoken to today, what I said was that that stuff changed last night, and clearly it did.
Yeah. Can you? Is my audio okay?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I told y'all last week, like, it's not crazy that of the fact that he could get fired. Now, I am definitely shocked that it happened today, even as a result of last night's embarrassment. What do I think? I I think it's exactly what we saw. I mean, if you were at that stadium, if you were watching live from your home, that was an embarrassment to every degree. And it's just a half of football, right? Like the first half was very competitive. You have the lead going into the locker room, and then you just see the scenes from Tiger Stadium that you've never seen in like the last, I don't even know how long, man. Like Texas A&M fans are flooding the seats closest to the to the grass, and man, what a time. What a time to be alive.
And the viewer watching it from, and so for those of you that don't know, we actually had a very, very up close and personal. So Russo was watching it from the TV. I was at the game. I was there. I was on the visiting sideline. Like, I was literally sitting directly behind A&M fans that were looking at me dead in the face throughout the game, which I wish I would have drank more considering what the second half looked like. But the A&M fans, the fella sitting in front of me looked at me and said, "How bad does this get for you guys?" And I said, "Well, I have three things to say. One, if there's any team outside of Bama this year that is going to get protected in any way possible, it's going to be A&M, because it was going to be Texas, correct? It was going to be Texas. They were going to get protected by whatever rule book, whatever scenario, late game calls. I mean, and it was going to be them. It's now going to have to be A&M and Alabama. Obviously, Georgia's always going to have that. And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "If you don't think that you guys are going to get postured up and make it seem as like the 20-1 or 20-2 at home is, I mean, that is going to be everything, because A&M has the buzz to be able to do something dangerous in the playoffs." And so what I will say candidly is that they knew that. Like, they knew that they were going to be the ones that, like, no one wanted to cheer for. No one cheers for A&M in the SEC but A&M. Nobody. I want to say, and then I'm gonna actually get to this comment in the middle of my point, because it does kind of line up with point number two. Point number two was, the guy asked me about this specifically. So the comment reads, says, "I will say personally, it happened for me when he walked into the PMAC pretending he was from here." There was a couple of people that did say that this game was getting ugly, and then when it got even uglier, they said that he was never going to fit here. He never belonged here. If this is the best you had at home with your back against the wall, 2 losses, and you can't beat us, they didn't even think they were that good of a team. Like A&M doesn't even think that this was their best team. Like they think that their best team was, the COVID team that ended up, having 2 losses or whatever. So they think that they have holes. And I mean, pause. And talking to them before the game, they also thought that it was going to be a tight one, which it was. You, as LSU, you had the ball, got the lead. You had to make several turnovers, and for all intents and purposes, you did what you hadn't done all year, which was score on special teams. Now it was only 2 points, but it was a cascade effect immediately following the second half when it started. And so you had the inability to stop them from scoring. It was a score, punt, a touchdown for them on special teams, and then another punt, a 4-play score, and then a punt again. And from that point forward, it was as nasty for that as it were to go, say, 0-4 in your last SEC games for the rest of the year. The embarrassment of that is what changed this. And I will say, look on Twitter, look on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you can get info from anybody that was posting this. We said it on the show this week and last week. There was no appetite to do this. It's financially irresponsible, but it's also financially irresponsible to allow it to keep going for the years past, because this, like I said earlier, would then become a 2027 problem if you let this go further into the year. However, the recruiting class, how does this look? How does this fan out? Certainly only who can say. But in a world where you can't lose the fan base like you had lost it, and it was already lost.
I do want to say, first, we have 15 viewers in here, which is pretty sick, right? So, like, for those, not thank you, wrong button. Obviously, we're amateur hours here. Please like and subscribe. Obviously,
doesn't cost anything.
Anyways, I wanted to get, for those new viewers, because, like, I'm not saying you have extra information that people don't. I just want to kind of get from what you have heard the last 24 hours, like, how did this come to be? Like, I know you have something. I'm not saying give away any information that things are given to you, but what led to this? Like, from the last 24 hours?
Not even 24, dude. It's like the last 12.
Yeah.
Like it's literally been the last 12. And I'll say honestly, this is not like breaking anything. Like, this is, social media has these things. The people that pay money for this to happen, which we said several times, the people that paid money for this to happen in the beginning are the ones that then got embarrassed here at the end. So for those of you that don't know, a $100 million contract, well, we're not going to show that. We're not going to show that because that's alleged. We're not going to show that.
That's badass.
We're not gonna have anything like that happen. We're not gonna be liable for comments like that. So what I will say publicly is there was zero desire from anybody that paid money for this to happen, continue to allow it to happen. So whenever you get together money on a contract, the people that ultimately pay the money aren't going to watch an embarrassment for too much longer. And they're also not just going to stand idly by and just allow their entire team to be in an embarrassment. And I will also say, most of the people that talk for a reason. LSU did not let this be public, because think about how this went the last time. Remember when Ed O was gone and everyone, and it was days on end and no one had anything, and you're scrolling Twitter, you're reloading your timeline. There is no other reason other than to get other brains and pocketbooks and checkbooks involved. If LSU didn't want you to know, this would have never been spoken about. But because this was such a public thing, all of it's been aired out since the morning. So ultimately, there is going to be a new president named and sworn into LSU here soon. And the thought behind that is that, in essence, he or she would want to make their own hire, whether that's football or AD. And in a state like Louisiana, when politics get involved, you can't run from that much. So I will say, and Leighton brings up a really, really good point. Shout out to Leighton, who's a very early listener of the show. I have no desire to watch LSU go through a buyout and contract negotiations. No one wants that, but you can't afford the black eye on your on your football team for that much longer. And so ultimately what's going to happen is that Frank Wilson is going to be the interim head coach. He's had head coaching experience before. The guys will play hard for Frank. They all love Frank. And I think people like Corey Raymond and Frank Wilson, and maybe even to a degree, Blake Baker, maybe
Gotta rally the troops.
Like
Gotta rally the troops here.
Right. Like you're the ones that are sitting there going, well, we did our jobs. Like, what did we not do? Like,
the last 3 games, Blake Baker,
I said to
while dealing with injuries, has been exposed by that blueprint of offense.
And
because
I didn't want to forget to answer your question. To answer your question directly, it seems as though everything did change last night, of course, with the embarrassment. It was the way he handled it too. There's Twitter video of AI like lip reading him and in the student section saying, fire Kelly. And he's talking to Verge Osbury, the deputy director of the athletic program. And he's basically saying, get their names and ban them. Who you're gonna ban? You're gonna ban free speech because they lost the game? That's what you're gonna ban them for? Like, you don't get to run from this, not here. And so it's a culmination of things that he's clearly not used to, and he was just too late. He was too late on getting what he needed to get done. And unfortunately for him, it's going to cost him his job, and it did cost him his job. So I will say that the only thing that I would be privy to is the information that everyone has received is that this became very doable with how embarrassing it was. But a week ago, these conversations were not having took place like this. It were a option C, D type of thing. Sloan, of course, Brad Davis, of course. You could see those things happening. Cortez Hankton, even to a degree, with his mismanagement of the groupings and receivers and substitutions. But brother, you can't fall off a cliff like that and have that much of an embarrassment. LSU won't stand for it, and neither are the people that pay the money to watch it happen.
Well, let's talk about this too. And you had mentioned a little bit, like politically, how politics became involved in this. I do want to say for the fans, news had just broke that they were going to raise ticket prices starting next year, like that week, right? Like that was broke by the board of directors. So that was horrible timing going along with with that performance. Obviously there was rumblings starting with Brian Kelly's tenure becoming to an end. But let's get back into the politics. What, a little bit more about this than I do. What about the politics specifically is like important for those that don't that pay attention to sports, but not how it works from a college standpoint?
Politically?
Yeah.
So I will say pretty openly, this shouldn't take anybody by surprise. I actually want you to leave this comment up because I want to get to that in here in a second, because I have something to say about that maybe some people might disagree. Politically, Scott Woodward and any other athletics director, if they do not see eye to eye, or if they are at odds with the governor or the president of the school, it becomes very difficult to make changes. So for example, the AD can tell the football coach, and that's actually what I was reading. So I apologize for that. That's actually what I was reading. There's actually word coming out about
Trey's like our mini Woj.
I mean, it's in there. It's in there. It's in essence discussions of what to do weren't agreed on. There are many different ways that information can be passed around. And so when it comes to a small state as political as Louisiana can be, for example, the AD wants to make a move on a team. The head coach disagrees. or vice versa. If the AD wants to make a move on a head coach and they go to the president, but the president likes the head coach, well, then the AD is now at odds with the other two parts. So it's a pillar system, you see? So if you are already at odds with them before negotiations even start about the job at hand, this is just on a 10,000-foot view level on like what you believe personally. You are going to have a difficult time having good, comfortable, well-meaning, and productive conversations with those people. It seems as though that has been the case here. I do not, of course, with there not being a president at the university, there is really no one other. I mean, there's people that can stand in that place. So it falls a lot on the AD to really make these decisions. And if the head coach does not agree with the AD on the decisions that get to be made, it becomes a headbutt and a clash. And there's not really a lot that you can do at this point if you're Brian Kelly, other than, kind of like what they did at Florida State. Alex Atkins was the offensive coordinator. He becomes the fall guy. Brian Kelly may not have been comfortable with making Joe Sloan the fall guy. For whatever reasons, maybe it was Brad Davis. Maybe it was, Cortez Hankton. Maybe it was the whole offensive staff. We don't know that. I don't know that. But word gets traveled around quickly when you want things to be known. When you want to start mess and crap, the mess and crap will get started, and it will get started quickly in a small state like this. And so again, if these people don't want you to know this information, then you won't know it. Like, Twitter is not just going to find out about, moves being made behind the scenes, and these people are having board meetings, and staff is sent home without knowledge of whether or not they're hired or fired, or like none of that happens unless they want you to know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just got a text, shout out to Ben who's in the comments, and this could be new or old for you. And this isn't like breaking news. Multiple program sources told The Athletic earlier Sunday, on the heels of LSU's third loss, that LSU athletic director Scott Woodward wanted Kelly to make staff changes, including firing offensive coordinator Joe Sloan, to try and fix an offense that ranks last in the SEC in rushing yards per game. However, when Kelly and Woodward met Sunday afternoon, things got very tense. After Woodward told the head coach to fire his play caller, Kelly fired back that he wanted to make other staff moves. Woodward wasn't comfortable with. That's when the situation escalated. And I mean, obviously there's more details, but shout out to Ben for sharing that to me. And that could be old news for some of you, but
hit Twitter about 25 minutes ago. And that is what I was referring to. Now, what I will also say is this is very much still ongoing, which again, this is why this has taken all day. Now, the intent, and this is going to hit social media too, but like if you wake up in the morning, clearly this didn't happen, an hour and 15 minutes ago. People have been tweeting about it all day. Being called and said, "Hey man, we're trying to make a move. We understand this is going to be difficult for all of us, but we're going to have to make a move here." You may need to figure out, how to approach the team with this. So these things take a long time, especially when you talk about contract negotiations, because it does not have to be a lump sum. For those of you that think that this is just a $54 million blank check that gets written, that's not the case. And if both sides agree to, you can negotiate what that amount is. So there are speculations about 40% and 50% and 60%.
I'd argue like probably 60. It's going to be in the upward.
Correct. And if you're BK, why not?
Yeah, you have all the leverage technically, although like you stated to me earlier, your public image kind of gets tarnished if you like give the FU attitude and not want to take any kind of settlement, and you just, sit there and be miserable with the LSU fans going against you. I'm posting a comment into our page. I'm going to show it real quick. Who do y'all want to be the next head coach? While Trey, I know Trey, you wanted to get to the.
I want to talk to this comment specifically. The reason why, and I am not here to cast aspersions on Tommy Moffitt. I've actually met Tommy Moffitt several times. I've met his children. He's wonderful. He is a wonderful guy with a lot of strong ties, and a lot of people like Tommy Moffitt. He has also done a lot of good in the football program. There were several different teams and years under the Tommy Moffitt regime where you looked soft. It was the soft tissue injuries that ultimately we could not continue to allow to happen. There were bad seasons, like physically, under the Tommy Moffitt regime. But I will say also that the change of scenery has rejuvenated him. It has pissed him off. He is a new person. It has woken up the sleeping beast. Samson grew his hair back out when he got to A&M because he's mad now. So I will say very, very comfortably that he absolutely is better than who you have right now, which is Jake Flint. For those now, again, they study this. They have medical devices strapped to them at all times. They have like science-backed ways to mitigate the soft tissue injuries and whatnot, which you can't take that away from, Jake Flint. You can't take that away from him, but there are a lot of things that are baked into that. And man, you're getting pushed around. And Russo, this is the worst offensive line that I have ever seen at LSU.
I mean, your boy, what's his name? The guy you hyped up that finally got the start, Carius.
He's not a tackle. He's going up against the sack leader in SEC, which for all intents and purposes, it was going to be like that. It was going to be like that regardless of if but we knew what it was going to be because we've seen the other people play that position. So the only thing that you could do is say, well, we did see him pancake a handful of people at the Ole Miss game. Give him a go. He's at least mean, and he wasn't scared. Now, he may have been a little slow, but he wasn't scared. And so I will say that it's hard to conceptualize how quickly this all came through because, brother, this is not something that happens overnight. You don't become soft overnight. This is a much more deeply rooted issue. If Brad Davis can recruit, where is the development? I also have been on here to say how, dude, it's like 5-star, 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, flip them, 4-star. Like he's recruiting them, bam, bam. I mean, you're getting the horses, but they're not learning how to run fast. And I don't know how it's even possible with injuries that your line can be this bad. But brother, listen to what I'm telling y'all, people. We came on the show and 3 weeks ago said, if you just had a running game, this could be better. You've had one for the last 3 games and you still can't win. You've had the running game. Harlem Berry broke a 12-yard carry like the first play of the game, and he touched the ball once.
Shout out to him. He looked very good last night. Only touched the ball once in the second half, right? Like first drive. I'm pretty sure he only touched it
once. He once in the second half. And I will say it is difficult. It is hard to find a way to not give your best playmaker from the backfield touches. Caden Durham, bless, won you the South Carolina game. And for all intents and purposes, made you have something of a pulse against playing South Alabama last year where he takes both of them to the house and showed you that burst. Dude, since then, it has been the Harlem Berry show. He is the answer. So that is a coaching thing. Brian Kelly not deciding to say, I am taking the play calling from you. I am doing that. To not have the desire to do that was ultimately his wrongdoing because you can't sit idly by. Do you know why you can't sit idly by? Mike Elko decided that they almost were going to get beat defensively because they were getting run through by teams. And he said 2 games in, not doing it anymore. I'm calling defensive plays. Now look at them. They just came in and whipped your ass.
Yeah.
So you can't not do it. You have to make a decision. You have to go and take over. Yeah. And the fact that he didn't is the reason he no longer has a job today.
Couple of things we'll get into. We're 25 minutes in. Thank you guys that are tuned in. This has been
hit the like.
Hit the like. We'll start with this because I know we went over a bunch of comments. That is correct. He did deny something. I'm sure we lowballed him or he was lowballed. I'd imagine the settlement will come probably upwards of 60%. That would be my guess. but he did originally deny it. And to Clay's comment, like Trey just alluded, it was a coaching deal. He got embarrassed, and that leads to Layden's comment of that was sad. The images you saw last night from Tiger Stadium were sad. It was just sad. Like it's something that you have never seen before. It's 100% correct. Trey can take this one because I thought I wanted Kiffin 4 years ago. So personally, we're going to get into the hot board. I'll let him at least make the argument for why it shouldn't be him. Joe Brady, I would say, very popular choice among the casual LSU fans. I just personally don't think he's going to leave his professional job. He's with the Bills, right? So I just don't think I think he's made a public statement saying he doesn't like coaching college. I think I've learned that at least last week. I'm over here like it was Tommy Moffitt. I felt better after the OT game in 2018 than yesterday's embarrassment. 100% should be in prison. I mean, look, there's a lot of angry people, and rightfully so. He was a strength and conditioning coach for like 2 days. Yep. Let's get back to this one. I want to hear if you've got at least a devil's advocate take here before we get into the hot board. So why shouldn't it be Kiffin?
Okay, so I'll go devil's advocate because you're asking me to be. The reason why it shouldn't be Lane Kiffin is that you have proven time and time again that Lane is incapable of fielding a desirable approach to defense. However, those things can be fixed with money. Those things can be fixed with other voices, and those things can be fixed with other people involved. There's really only so much you can do at a place like Ole Miss. I think at a place like LSU, he would be able to go out and get the best that he had to offer as it pertains to defense. But when you play call and call plays that fast, your defense is going to be on the field a lot and tired, assuming that you're successful offensively. And there are a lot of close call games with Kiffin where he's ended up deciding to just go all in and put it all on red 7 and come up short. And so I am not here to say that Lane Kiffin would be a bad option. I actually think that Lane Kiffin would be a very popular choice. I think there are people that, and I've said this 1,000 times. There are enough people that don't want Kiffin to be the hire, that have the money to put to and have some say so, that have spoken up and have said so. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's just not at this time. 4 years ago, he was never going to be the option.
Well, he was never offered.
Correct. And why do you think that he hasn't taken Florida yet, Anthony? Other than the fact that his team is also just winning, by the way. Like, why do you think he has not taken the Florida job yet? Because Lane Kiffin would literally walk to Baton Rouge to have the game. He would pay his own.
Oh yeah, 100%
to come take the LSU job.
Part of me thinks, and I'm like, this is a very small portion of the whole decision making here, right? Obviously, the big thing is that the way you lost last night, the way you performed up until this point. But you also have to look, Lane Kiffin's probably going to be a top 2 or 3 choice, right? You got to put your name in the hat. If Florida's already fired their coach and they're having discussions and pull for Lane Kiffin, maybe the timing of this makes a little bit more sense outside of the other stuff too, which, we're hearing stories about how Kelly didn't want to fire Sloan, all this stuff, but now your name is officially put into the hat for Lane Kiffin. Now it's going to become a bidding match when it comes to just his name. And there's other names too, right? But I think he's going to be the hot commodity between LSU and Florida. So there could be a bidding war for him. I'll get into a coach, and I know John Summerall is going to be a name, right, that's going to be brought up. I don't 100% know. I think like maybe he's the last choice, right? Like of the big names. Cignetti's definitely not leaving, right? I mean, he just signed a massive contract.
I
don't even think you could leave.
I have to. Okay. With 19 people watching, I need everyone to just. I'll hold hands for a second. I am here to tell you, if they don't go and offer Nicholas Lou Saban an Ohtani contract, they are pissing down their leg if they don't do that. Because I literally said this on the show. I said this on the show a week ago. If it's not done by the end of 2026, if you don't offer him a job, if anyone doesn't offer him a job by the end of 2026, he's not doing it. If
Nick Saban is absolutely the first call.
And I am telling you flatly, I am not breaking news. I am literally not telling you anything that would not be all over Twitter or social media or Instagram or any rich guy that drives a nice Beamer down the street that pays more money to NIL to your program than you do. I'm telling you, they are going to call him. If you don't think that there is going to be conversations that have already happened and that are currently going to happen with him, you are asleep. It is on the table. It is whether or not he desires to come back. He is getting paid bands to just talk about things.
Miss Terry though,
and that is the thing, y'all. And I don't want to say that this is like again like a shock to anybody. I'm grateful for blacking out at 11:30, or else I would have been very upset. Thank God you did. Thank God you did, because it was better blacking out and having dreams than watching that nightmare. You feel me? I'm here to tell you right now, that man speaks. His agent speaks even more. Okay, people don't just like come up with things randomly. Of this ilk of people, like, you don't hear those things from those people unless they've been said, over a steak and red wine dinner. Okay. And let me tell you something else. The places that those people like to eat at, those people have ears and they also have cell phones and they like to talk to. So don't think that there's not, ways that word gets out and around. It's very much a desire for people to want to go and get the big splash hire. The unfortunate news is that you're going to have to pay a lot of money to go and get somebody else. But if it's that kind of person, they'll pay it. And LSU they just showed you and proved us wrong that if things did get bad enough, much sooner than we thought, that if that's what bad looks like to them, they will pony up the money. So what do you think they pony up for the good money? Because they went all in. He said, give me money. I need a better defense. You went and got a better defense, and now you still have 3 losses before we get to hand out trick-or-treat candy. So I don't know how else you could have gone and done this, but at some point, something had to break.
And it broke. Coach O, it would be a long shot. It would be a long shot. Only because aren't we technically still paying him right now too? Like, I would be able to
finish paying him in 5 days.
Yeah, so I don't know if he'll be on the very low list. I'll start with this. Let's throw out a name from the same pipeline as Brian Kelly, Marcus Freeman. Yeah or nay? Where on the list 1 to 10 of like urgency, like importance? Like, is he going to be a player?
He isn't someone that they're going to call first. But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you at least kick the tires on that? If you get down, if your first 1 or 2 people don't, because again, he's accomplished getting to the college football playoff, which is more than what you've done. But do you not want a proven commodity? Like, is he proven enough of a commodity to you? That's the decision that I think that they would have to make. Do you go and kick tires on a Dan Lanning? Do you make Kirk Cignetti tell you no? Do you literally let the list start and end with Saban, and then after that, then you have like a tier down list? Do you go kick tires on Elko? Do you go and kick tires on Dan Lanning? Do you go? And I'm not saying who we should, because we haven't given our lists yet. But do you leave college football alone and you go and get an NFL guy? Like, we've seen dumber things and weirder things happen. What I don't think would happen is I don't think that a Summerall would happen, and I don't think that homeboy at Houston would be the guy either. I think that they'd want someone with skins on the wall, and from what I understand, they'd be willing to pay the money to do it. The reason why I feel that that's true is because they just did it tonight.
You could do it all over again, not hire Brian Kelly. Who would you have picked? Baton Rouge Raven. I would have picked Lincoln Riley. Would have been your mistake. I mean,
Yeah,
so
well,
back.
true.
I mean, look, it was down between Kelly and Lincoln, right?
Kelly,
those were the two until ultimately Lincoln.
Yeah. At the time, the pool was different, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The pool was different. And I will tell you that James Franklin had rumbles too at some point. And that was, I don't think that they would go that option. And if they do go that option, it would be a mistake.
I mean, I had personally was saying Lane, just because I'm a huge fan. I think he's the kind of guy that is the blueprint of like a player's coach for like a younger, offensive minded dude who just looks like fun to play for, I guess. Now, is he the best coach available on paper, X's and O's? Probably not, but I think he's the best overall fit for the program. Matt Campbell might have worked. I think he was a candidate at the time. I do too. He was definitely on the short list. Where did he end up? Is he still at Iowa State?
Mm-hmm.
They just lost, right? A close game. Or no, BYU actually. I'm pretty sure BYU beat them. Could be wrong. BYU's 8-0 for the second straight season too. I need Saban like the guy on Jefferson Highway corner needs to claim my
I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, we'll take it over from here while it goes away. So I think Saban's your first call. What are y'all's thoughts on Dabo Swinney? Is that too crazy? He's in his worst season at Clemson. This could be the time he makes a move, although you would have concerns over his recruiting / NIL style.
My apologies.
I don't know if he would be 100%. We got several no's to the recommendation of Dabo Swinney.
If give us some comments in the chat if you guys would like to hear, you know, if you would like to know our actual, you know, list of names that we personally would want them to call.
That's good. You should be an Eagles fan regardless.
Because I honestly think, correct me if I'm wrong, and let me know if I'm tripping. Does the list not start and end with Nick Saban?
Oh, 100%.
After that, you can't touch Ohio State, you can't touch Georgia, and it feels like Indiana and Oregon feel also like you don't really have as much of a chance there, and I don't think after this season that Sark is even something that they would even want to do. So at that point, you're basically five schools you don't touch their coach. They're not calling Dabo Swinney. So
look, dude, desperate calls. I had to throw his name out there. Got some good responses. Dan Lanning's an interesting choice. The question becomes with him, why would you leave Oregon for LSU? I mean, if your desire is to coach in an easier conference and get paid, then why would you leave? I guess like you get whatever you want. Oregon's a great school. Why would you? I agree. It's a deeper conference. Any coaches, and we've talked about Kelvin Shepherd. Shout out to him, by the way. A great productive defense with a lot of injuries on that side of the ball, and they're doing great. I mean, what is this, like his second or third year coaching? And maybe his first as the DC? Is that too early?
What?
Like if it does,
Yeah,
like
it would be.
one
I've said, and
early, yeah.
which by the way, I don't know. I mean, Jesus, I can't even. I'm waiting for something. Maybe. I have told you before. I'll say it here. I have said for forever that Saban should not want to leave being doing TV. I strongly think that there is rope there. Can I say that?
With Saban?
I think that there is strong rope there.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, first at DC. Yeah, so I mean, like, I think you go down the line. I think would he be a call if several names don't answer? Maybe.
Not Shep.
I just
never coached. He's never coached in college. He's never been a head coach. I don't think they'd go that route. Joe Brady has disdain for for recruiting in college athletics. He's not. It is not going to be Joe Brady. It's a matter. It is a matter of, is your job the most desirable one in the country? That's open, and it's absolutely yes. You are 1,000,000,000% more desirable than Florida, and you are 100% more desirable than Penn State. Absolutely.
Jay Johnson, shout out to him.
Jesus. His dad was a football coach. You don't think Jay could call plays?
I will say
he'd recruit.
We had a somewhat disagreement on Woodward possibly going here too, and the argument behind that is why, like, the only really bad move outside of McMahon at basketball, which is still playing out, but that's a little too early to call. Outside of that, he did hire Jay Johnson, which you told me that wasn't his first choice. So, like, that's kind of
correct.
That's kind of a slap on the wrist for him, because he wanted old boy from whatchamacallit, what's his name? The old skipper from
Kevin
Florida.
O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Amid a lot of off the field situations. Now you can't take that away from Scott. He did go and get Jay, but it was not his first. It was not his first hire. The basketball hire for men's, like, what were you supposed to do?
McMahon is I don't know. Yeah, we don't want to.
Something tells me they're not going to go and get Belly Gabe. Something tells me they're not going to. I do also want to say very, very flatly that Russo and I don't differ that much on what we want for the team. We may differ on how we get to that decision, though. Does that make sense? So if it's you today, give me three. You don't have to do it in order, but give me your three right now.
The Tyler Pat with some news here. Is this confirmed?
Or I think that was already done. But yes, Joe Sloan. It seems as though if we can get official on that from Twitter, but it feels as though last time Pete Thamel was reported.
Oh yeah, I'll look that up. Thank you for breaking that, Tyler. Clark Lee is interesting. What we would call this 2 years of success at Vanderbilt, is that enough to be one of the first calls? I mean, I think for sure Saban's going to be the first call. Trust me, Les Miles is not being called. I don't even know where that guy is anymore. I think Clark Lee would make a top 10 list.
I mean, it's impressive what he's done.
Landers Slaying Witt will come back for senior year. I mean, he's got ties, unless a tragic breakup would cause that. Definitely a cheaper option. I agree with that. With regards to Clark Lee, I think if you're going the cheap route, which I just don't think that's the first or second route, like, you're going to spend money if you. This notion that LSU doesn't have money, to me, is crazy. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Like, I don't want to keep hearing, one, that Why would they fire Kelly? You're gonna have to pay him 50 blah blah blah. One, they have money. Like I don't want to hear this notion that they don't. You're gonna pay the dude that money anyways. You're just kicking the can down the road for several years. That money's going to get to him, whether it's in, telling him not to go coach and your services are needed. The only problem with the money is that now, on top of the agreement of the buyout, which you're going to pay him monthly, you also now got to go spend excuse my language, a ton of money for someone else probably, right? Because you're not going to just make this fire and go. I mean, Clark Lee would be in my opinion, cheap hire. I think there are several other options you would have to shoot for. Not saying he's off the list. My top three, you're definitely calling Saban. You're definitely calling Lane. Those are the first two calls you make. The problem with both of those, they're going to be super expensive. You listen to Saban first, and then Lane, you're going to be dealing with Ford on that. Eli Drinkwitz
down the list. But
down the list, I think he's going to take the Florida job. If you
what I've said for weeks now.
I think he's gonna sneak right in there. He's a good coach. I mean, that game. I mean, even with a true freshman quarterback against Vanderbilt, made that game look very close. Come down to the end, something LSU could not really do. They stopped that offense, which, as an LSU fan, sickens you because with what they did to us the previous week. So those are my first two calls. My third call, man, I don't have a third guy. I've been on Lane. My third call would be Dan Lanning. I don't think that's realistic. I don't think he leaves. I think John Summerall will be an option. I think he might slide in. I don't necessarily want that. I think you've got to go big. Obviously, someone we haven't talked about either, which you would consider a top 3 qualified available option at this point, would be James Franklin.
Which I don't think they would go that route either, because you're in essence you're hiring another Brian Kelly.
I will say, Franklin, given that he couldn't win the big game, he was a pretty good coach and he did recruit well. And I think he did adjust to the NIL way of life. So, I don't think that's a horrible call. I wouldn't be so upset if he was the guy. I mean, Kelly 2.0 is fair. I'm just saying if Kelly, I mean, if Lane and Saban aren't your guys, and then you can't get Lanning, now you're in trouble because it's now you have to go someone someone like a Summerall, someone like a Clark Lee. I mean, at that point, now you're talking about Drinkwitz. Those are when those conversations. Jesus, guys, Honey Badger is not coaching LSU. I mean,
he wants to be involved in the program, and you'd be an idiot to not let him be a part of it.
Oh, you would definitely be a part of the program, 100%, but not the head coach.
No. But in reality, this is not. This as much as this is a homer take for some of you, I think that everyone needs to be realistic, and that this is outside of Texas, Ohio State, Georgia. Can you name? I mean, Alabama's to me on par. Can you maybe name me a better job than LSU?
I mean, we had this conversation last Thursday, a couple of days ago. When I'm having the conversation about Dan Lanning and which school is better between Oregon and LSU, it's LSU, because how many titles has Oregon won in the last 20 years? LSU wins championships. Now, I will say Oregon's probably consistently better. They're a more consistent 9 to 10 win team due to the conference, due to the lack of depth in the Big Ten. You won't win as many 9 or 10 game seasons at LSU just because the conference is just that deep. But yeah, 100% agree with this. Someone should definitely go on the staff.
Listen to me. Coach O is not coming back to the LSU football program. There is far too much bad that went down with that. You no. Unfortunately for him, that is not going to be on the table and a realistic option. I
If it
also
was
think,
all rainbows and like if it was a good ending, I
yeah,
would say as a D line coach, yeah, I think. But like the way that ended, like you said, Sam Pittman.
as an O-line coach, I
I mean,
somehow
look,
also think that Coach Sammy P. I think I feel pretty comfortable saying enough people have kind of.
tarnished him.
It seems as though he's comfortable drinking Coors Light and sitting at the house.
Yeah.
I don't think his desire is quite there anymore, and that's just fine. I mean,
do you think Lane Kiffin and look, Ole Miss, if you look at Ole Miss's schedule, very winnable. Like they are I'm pretty sure they're going to be favored in all 4 games they have left. So, like, it's going to be interesting to see what he does because now you're going to have 3 suitors for Lane Kiffin: Florida, LSU, and his current team, Ole Miss. Which I don't know if they just gave him an extension or not. So, like, I don't know how all of that works. Who would you get from the NFL? I mean, uh, a coordinator. Like, I don't think a head coach is going to leave their job unless they get fired, and you're probably not going to. So you need like a coordinator. Like Joe Brady would probably be a name, although
I want to say a name.
Go ahead.
And the only reason why I even say it is because this man coaches. I said it today at lunch. So shout out to the people that were with me at lunch today. This man coaches like he is fresh off perks. Benjamin Johnson would call some crazy foolishness as a college play caller. The only reason why I say that is just because he's exciting to watch, but it will not happen. That is not even on the table. He is the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I'm just saying, if you had someone that had like that kind of prowess, maybe you go and look at someone from the NFL that can call plays like that. But that's,
that's a good point, Ben. I mean, I think that's what I was trying to go say. Like, I just think if they're going to likely make the playoff because they only have 1 loss right now, and their schedule's pretty favorable. So it's going to be interesting. And there was already rumors about him addressing the locker room amid the rumors of Florida. So now that becomes interesting. But he has to be your top priority. You have to throw him a bag.
What is, and again, I literally just said the name because I like him. Like I wanted him to be like on my Sunday team. That's the only reason why I just wanted to bring his name up, because I just love to watch his play calling. It's the same reason why I like Lane Kiffin, is because of the way he calls plays. However, what's very, very interesting to me is the sincere brazen of people to think that LSU can't come and take your coach. And again, I named the schools at which I think they're fine. Your coach isn't like untouchable when a school like LSU is looking for a head coach. And I also think that this is going to be slow played. In reality, man, like you're not going to need to push the envelope. If someone's currently already coaching, they would want you to be they would want to be courted and waited. But you also have a recruiting staff, like you also have a recruiting staff, a recruiting class that needs to be retained. And if you remember the last time this happened, you waited until you finally got the news about BK, and then the class was already in shambles at that point. And the same thing with the defensive coordinator. When you let Matt House go, is you waited too long to find a new coordinator, and then but it was already too late at that point. You had already lost commits. So it's very, very difficult for me to see them be able to sit on their hands too much. So you may have to have some uncomfortable conversations and say, listen, I know that if it is them, if you don't go the Nick route, if you go, for someone that's currently a head coach, you do have to tell them, listen, like This offer is only going to be good for so long. And unless that is your guy, then you go all in. But it's very difficult to know who their guy would be if you may also not have an athletics director, which there is no reports that there's no report or things that I've seen to see that Scott Woodward is no longer the athletics director. But the person looking for the next head coach would be the athletics director and also the president being, incredibly involved, which William Tate was very involved. So you no longer have that president. So you kind of have to wait for the hierarchy to be in place before you can even go and decide. It's not like it's, you know what I'm saying? So there's a list of things that kind of have to happen before you can even make this happen. But I assure you, the people that move the money are calling agents. That I can tell you.
Mike McDonald, definitely a good name. But isn't he also in his first year there, or his second, maybe? I don't know. I know he's relatively fresh in there. Possibly. Brian Daboll, interesting. He probably gets fired now that their best player just turned his ankle in a very gruesome way for anyone who was watching that game. What about a former NFL coach that we haven't brought up here, which is Mr. Gruden? Too much controversy behind his name?
I think I'm out, man.
Too much controversy? I don't think he's a good I don't think he'd be a good college fit given his track record. But, yeah, I think it's for sure Saban. It's for sure Kiffin. You give a call to Dan Lanning. I mean, you give a call to people around the league like your Kirby Smarts and your people that you just take your shots on, right? But I think realistically, if it's Billy Napier, I'll also become an Eagles fan. Yeah, I don't think Billy Napier's going to get another SEC job. Gruden, yeah, I just don't think he's the guy. Just a name I thought would float up. I leave you on this. I think Eli Drinkwitz, let's watch out for him. Deion Sanders, too much health issues maybe, and he hasn't really had success at Colorado. If you really think about it, I mean, what was their best season? 7-5 or 8-4 when he had 2 top 10 picks, or not top 10. Forgot Shadir did not dropped out basically of the draft. Yeah, so I don't think so. I think last year maybe, because there were a lot of rumors about people wanting Deion. But keep your eye on Eli Drinkwitz. I think he's going to probably be a realistic chance, because I think whoever loses the battle to Florida, or whoever chooses LSU or Florida, the other goes there, right? Like if Lane goes to Florida, I think Eli's definitely in contention. I think he would be preferred over John Summerall, but maybe even cheaper. But yeah, Lane Kiffin, Saban, your top 2 guys.
It is very, very interesting to be at this, at this predicament. It's obviously we're an hour in. It's 8:30 on a Sunday. Yeah. This is obviously something that's developing. This is something that we're going to continue to monitor, and something we're going to look at. Obviously that this is not somewhere where we thought. I mean, I personally did not think that it would get bad this fast in order to buy him out. So I'll be the first person to say that I was wrong. I 100% when I actually got to the point of thinking, how bad did it need to be for you to do this? That's why on the previous show I said I feel like you would need to lose the rest of your SEC games, because you're not going to lose to Western Kentucky. Even
I think all of LSU's media had. I mean, I was watching the Mosquito show last night after the show, and he kept repeating, "It's just not likely that this happens."
Dude, I'm telling you, bro, it all changed last night.
Yeah.
It got to the point where there you couldn't afford to not do it, and that's unfortunately where we're at. I don't know how else to say it, but the kids are going to play hard for Frank. That I know. There's
no pressure now. I mean, I think we'll talk about this more on Tuesday and Thursday. We are running out an hour. We'll put a bow tie on this episode. But I will say, I think Nuss is shut down after this too. I think he shuts down. I think there was already reports that Harold Perkins is shutting down.
Shut down.
Is that true?
You think that he put enough on film to shut himself down?
Was the reports on Harold Perkins true, or was that a meme?
I can't at this point. I have no idea. I have not seen any of that.
That's just speculation on my behalf. Like, do you go with MVB for the rest of the season?
I will tell you this: Michael Van Buren has the ability to actually get away from people that are coming after him.
Good. Okay, I figured out. Yeah.
It feels very much as though when he came in last night and rifled one to Trey'Dez Green and then got sacked and then evaded like 4 other sacks, and then with his ability to shake loose, got to the edge and threw a touchdown pass. Garrett can't do that. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have the arm talent. I just think what Garrett's good at required a better pocket, which he had last year, which is why I wish that you had your center from this year on last year's team, because he had the time to throw last year. He no longer has that time, and he's incapable of running away from people.
Hear me out, and then we'll close on this. Why not start him against Bama?
At this point, there's not a good reason to not.
You have nothing to lose. Let's just see it. Let's just see it. You know, like, I don't want to, like, you kept throwing out nuts there last night. I said you should have thrown in MVB way sooner than what he did, which also leads to our conspiracies of, like, is he really playing for, like, pay to play? Is this like an NIL deal? Because, like, why is he still out there? Because, like, nothing new is happening. Why not start MVB against Bama? No one expects you to win, right?
In reality, you were winning the game with him at half. And but the problem is that, I don't know, man.
We'll talk about that Tuesday, Thursday.
It's a lot, but yeah.
Guys, we had a lot of viewers, a lot of new people in the comments.
This is incredible. Please.
This is incredible. Yeah. Like and subscribe. This was great.
Like and subscribe. Shoot it out to everybody else. It feels like this is probably not going to be the last live show we have about this.
Yeah. So, because this is going to be ongoing for a while now, and we'll have a lot to talk about. So, thank you all again. We'll have catching up with Coach on Tuesday and the RNG show on Thursday. So, you guys take care, and we will see y'all next episode.